So how do I pick my plugins? The ones I'm going to demo or eventually buy, or the ones I buy but decide I'm not going to use and put them in my unused folder? Let me give you a little insight of how I rate and review plugins. Here we go. So I analyzed the way I look at plugins, and I've come up with a way of how I review them and rate them. Makes it easy for me to know if I'm going to buy it, or maybe it's a future plugin I'm going to buy. I'm just not interested right now, or I just demoed it and I didn't feel anything at all. Or maybe I feel like I already have this type of plugin, but I just don't think it's better than the plugin I already have. So when analyzing what I do and how I pick a plugin, I came up with 5 reasons why I would or would not buy a plugin. Check it out. The first would be the look. The second would be ease of use. The third, of course, would be the sound. The fourth would be the CPU power it uses. And last, but of course not least, the price. So let me break it down a little bit more so you understand why and how I'm going to rate each plugin so that I'm clear. Let's start with the look. We all do it. We look at a plugin and we make a decision right there. Hey, I'm interested. So why are we interested? Well, let me break it down. It usually starts with the GUI, or graphic user interface. If a plugin stands out and still looks nice and inviting, people will start talking, including myself. That draws my interest. Next, does it look simple? Simple to use, only a few knobs, has a nice VU or nice digital meters. Next, the size. It's not too small, I can't read the letters, or I'm not sure what knob is what because the plugin is too small, or it's just too big. It's like I can only fit one plugin per monitor. Usually, I like plugins that you're able to resize. That's always great. Last, do I feel like, yeah, I love the way this plugin looks. Let me pull it up again. That says a lot. All right, next is ease of use. Is everything labeled? I shouldn't have to pull up the manual just to know what this knob does. Next, is the label easy to understand? Do they call the knob sugar? So what does sugar mean? Or the slider is called grease. Am I supposed to know what grease means? It's so important to use terms that are easy to understand and relate. Next, is everything easy to get to? Are the knobs too close? Are the faders too far apart? Do you have to click on too many tabs just to get to something that's really easy? And last, does the plugin have start-off presets? If it's an effect plugin, I would highly suggest that. Of course, if it's a compressor plugin or an EQ plugin, think about the beginner user. Sure, I'm probably not going to go to a preset on a compressor or an EQ, but a beginner would, and they rely on that just to know what you hear in this plugin. That's so very important. I hear it all the time from beginning users. Hey, how do I start off with this plugin? Okay, now let's go to sound. What do I look for in a plugin when it comes to sound? Well, first, if it's a compressor or EQ and it's modeling a hardware unit, I look for the character. If I select an emulation plugin, as soon as I pull it up, it should have that character. I shouldn't have to turn a knob to turn it on, if you know what I mean. If I don't want to hear that character in that emulation plugin, I'll just put it on bypass. But as soon as I take it off of bypass, no matter what, if I'm turning a knob or if I'm not, it should induce a character, and then I go from there. What was great about most hardware is as soon as you put it in the chain, the sound would change. It would either get better or have some type of vibe, though it was really small and subtle. Also, if it's an emulation plugin, please add the hardware's saturation, distortion, the nonlinear aspects of the hardware matters, regardless how small and subtle or how nasty. If it's not emulating a hardware unit, well, how is it embellishing the sound? That's what I look for. Also, how does it make me feel? Does that compression bring the sound forward? Does that EQ help me get rid of problem situations faster? Does that reverb disconnect the vocal from the track, or does it massage the vocal inside of the track? Is it easy to get a great sound? Do I have to struggle with the plugin to get a great sound? Do I have to sit there for 30 minutes each time I use this plugin to get a great sound? Or is it something that I can run my audio through and automatically it starts coming together? These are all things that I look for as far as sound. Next, CPU power. How much power does this plugin use? Also, I tend to look at percentages. Is it a channel type plugin where I can use it on each channel? Or is it a bus plugin or a master bus plugin? Those things are very important, to me at least. If it's a channel type plugin, well, I think it should use anywhere from 1 to 4% of my CPU. If it's a bus type plugin, I look for 1 to 5%. And if it's a master bus plugin, well, then I look for 1 to up to 10%, or a little bit more even, depending on how different it is or depending how good it is, from the reasons before I've given, like the look, ease of use, sound, etc. Now, the last thing on this, as far as CPU power, is does the plugin turn off anything it's not using that I don't need? Like, if it's a channel strip plugin and it has an EQ, compressor, gate, filters, saturation, does it give me a way to actually turn off the compressor and gate and just use the EQ and save on CPU power? Or I just want to use the compressor, so can I turn off the EQ and gate? These are things I look for to see if a plugin is efficient. Now, last but not least, the price. Do I think it's worth the price? Does it have any type of resale value? Does this company have great tech support? And when pulling up the plugin, did I see any issues, bugs? Did the company offer a demo for the plugin? And how long was that demo? So this is what I look for as far as the price. Now, with all of that said, this is how the rating system is going to go. If a plugin gets 5 plugs, it's a perfect plugin, meaning the look, ease of use, sound, the CPU power, and price is incredible and so well worth it. I would highly recommend that you run and get that plugin, because I've done the same. If it gets a 4, then that means it's an outstanding plugin and worth buying. If it gets 3 plugs, then it's above average plugin. And at that point, I'm either thinking about it, it may be a future purchase, or if I don't have anything like it, then I may purchase it. Just depends. If a plugin gets 2, then that means it's an average plugin. Would I get it, or will I be using it because I bought it already? Or will it go back in the unused folder, or maybe get resold? Again, just depends if I have anything like it. If I feel that I really, really need it, I may look at their other plugins and see if I see anything else. Maybe they have something better, and then I'll make my decision. And last but not least, if it gets a 1, that means it's poor quality. I'm just not interested, and I'm probably not going to buy it, or I'm not going to use it. And I'm either going to resell it or definitely put it in the unused folder. So with all that said, let's rate our first plugin by Plugin Alliance and Brainworx. It's called BX-Masterdesk. Let's start off with the look. I'll be honest, when they first started promoting it, I was very interested. It has a very slick look. The GUI is very clean. It looks polished and very inviting to use. And though it has a lot of knobs and a few buttons, it is very well labeled. The size, well, it's a little large. It does take up a lot of room. I have a 25-inch monitor, and it takes up more than half. So if it was resizable, it would definitely be a plus. And does the look of this plugin make me want to use it? I would say yes. So as far as looks, I would say it gets 75% out of 1. Now, ease of use. Everything is labeled great. It's very clear and understandable. There were a couple things that I had to look in the manual about. The TMT compressor mode was one. The limiter turbo was another one. And also the resonance filters. Though it's quick to get to the manual, it may be cool to hover over whatever knob or switch that you're interested in to know a little bit more about, and it pulls up the manual definition of that said switch or knob. I think that would be a plus for this plugin. Everything is very easy to get to, even the mid side, where you can solo the mid or solo the sides. That's very cool. It also starts off with a sound. I love that. Not only that, but it also has start off presets, and a lot of them. So the beginner can get right to it. So overall, for the ease of use, I gave it a 75% out of 1. All right, let's move on to the sound. I'm gonna run a demo track through this plugin and show you how I would use it. I set up some presets to get the best sound out of this track. Check it out. So as you can see, the sound is really nice. You can do so much more with this plugin, and sometimes I get caught up just messing around with it. It's really good. So as far as sound, when you power it on, it gives you that added color automatically without turning a knob. It comes with great saturation options. Makes me feel really, really good when I'm using it. And like I said before, I get caught up using it. You definitely won't struggle with trying to get a great sound out of this. And so for that, I'm going to give it a full 1 plug. All right, let's go to CPU power. Now this plugin, I would definitely just use on the master. I think too much of this is just too much, at least for a mix. So as far as CPU usage, it does pretty good, staying in between 1 and 10%. So with that said, I wish it was able to turn off the EQ or the MS effect or the resonance filters to save CPU power. So you could just use it on buses or even tracks. Or if you were getting down to the end of the mix and you needed that CPU power and you didn't have to use the EQ or other factors of this plugin, you could just turn it off and get the CPU power back and just use maybe the compressor or just use the MS function or the THD effect. That would be perfect. So with that said, for the CPU power, I'm going to give it 75%. Great job. All right, last but not least, the price. I bought this when it first came out, so I got a pretty good deal. It's normally $2.99, and most times they have it on sale for $1.99. So do I think it's worth that price? If you're looking for something like this, I would say yes. I'm always looking for something that's going to give me that little edge, and I think this plugin does it, and does it very well. Does it have resale value? I think so. Maybe not for the original price, but for the $1.99, it's definitely worth that. And how is Plugin Alliance tech support? It's on point. They really get things done and done fast. There's only been one time that I ever had an issue and they weren't able to fix it. They offered my money back to make it right. That's good service. So not only did I keep the plugin, but I actually use it. It's called the BX Limiter. And when I installed it into my Pro Tools 8 HD system, the RTAS version wasn't working right. Now that I'm on Pro Tools 10, the AAX version is working great, and I'm glad I kept it. So with that said, the price is worth it. So I'm gonna give it a full 1. So let's do some tallying up. As far as looks, it got a 75%. As far as ease of use, it got a 75%. As far as sound, it got a full 100%. As far as CPU usage, it got 75%. And as far as price, it got a full 100%. So the total would be 4.25 plug me in plugs. Great job. I think this plugin is worth it. Hope you guys like this video. I have a few more plugins that I'm going to be rating and reviewing. Let me know what you think about this video and how can I make it better. Also, what do you think about this plugin? Do you own it? How do you use it? Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.
Go, but I'm too scared I love you more. So